Getting in some more visuals now of the Taliban making advances in different parts of the Panjshir region. This is a video that came in from Kunduz, but they were heading towards Baghlan now. What is key is that there are reports that the Taliban has given a deadline to Ahmad Massoud's Northern Alliance to either join the Taliban or face a war. Now, these are pictures that came in that suggested that there were different troops that were headed towards the Panjshir region, and more videos suggesting that the situation could escalate. According to a former Afghan commander, the Taliban has sent massive battalions from Kunduz to recapture Baghlan, and although the numbers may be more, they may have more artillery, the Northern Alliance saying that they will fight to the last man and make a stand. And these are videos that came in a short while back. Abhishek is on the phone line. As we get you these pictures, this was one video that came in, another video was tweeted some time back, Abhishek, but what do you make of the developments in Panjshir and the Northern Alliance? The last few days we've had several reports of the Taliban losing some of these districts to the Northern Alliance, but looking at the numbers, now seems like another war is in the offing as we get videos from both sides. This is a different video of the Northern Alliance and not the Taliban en route Baghlan. In fact, this was a video of the Northern Alliance that tweeted some time back about their support and rallies. I'll repeat that. This is the Northern Alliance video that came in some time back. Abhishek, I'd like you to take our viewers through how you see the situation developing.
Niranjan, you know, this particular video is tweeted by a soldier of the Northern Alliance who can see this armed carcade of Taliban passing by, and who tweets by saying that I'm going to take on them, and if at all this should be treated as my last tweet because I'm not going to surrender to Pakistanis. Now that, you know, it's a multi-layered messaging where it seems Northern Alliance is very clear whom they are fighting against. It's not Taliban, just their backers and the Pakistani backers. But then, yes, we understand by these visuals that a situation of a civil war is emerging. The Northern Alliance, or the Northern Alliance 2.0, as one would call it, between son of Ahmad Shah Massoud and Amarullah Saleh, and of course the militias that originally backed and belonged to the warlords like Muhammad Atta Noor and Abdul Rashid Dostum. They are all galvanizing. The fact that they are in the Panjshir Valley, which is easy to defend, but then these pictures suggest that there could be a spillover into areas outside of Panjshir as well. So unless the global community really comes in, Niranjan, and stops being soft on Taliban and their Pakistani backers, I think we are going to see some bloodshed of the Afghan people, and it would be very unfortunate, and that's why it's important that the global community really takes serious note of these pictures coming out from north of Kabul.
Yeah, stay with me. We have Major General G.D. Bakshi also joining us on the phone line. General Bakshi, you've been talking about this. Now, we don't know about the numbers on both sides, but what we do know is that the Northern Alliance is not going to give in.
Look, Niranjan, I am very clear that the Afghan government also had a fallback plan. And quite obviously, with Mohammed Saleh joining up in the Panjshir Valley, the most famous redoubt in Afghanistan, let me just remind you that the Soviet Union had launched 7 core-sized offensives into the Panjshir Valley. 7 core-sized offensives, you know, and they had failed dismally to retake the Panjshir Valley. It is a natural redoubt, narrow valley with steep sides. Whenever anybody comes in, they just climb up to the mountains and they give hell to any force which ventures into that place. The Soviets could not take it. The Soviets could not take it, and ultimately even the KGB had to just buy off the Ahmad Shah Massoud, the Tajik warlord, who was one of the most redoubtable fighters of the resistance campaign in Afghanistan. along with, the Uzbek warlord Abdul Rashid Dostam, Muhammad Atta, and all these people. They were a formidable resistance to the Taliban. Unfortunately, the Americans, in trying to create a national army, destroyed these centers of resistance to the Taliban. They facilitated the comeback of the Taliban. They ordered the Afghan army not to fight. They ordered Ghani to flee. They were trying to, live up to the deal that Khalilzad had struck with the Taliban. I don't know what Joe Biden has a soft corner for Pakistan because they gave him their highest national honor award when he was vice president. He seems to be, he was all hung up on giving a walkover to the Taliban. Make sure that they did not get a fight. And, they needlessly strut about the world today as 10 feet tall. They aren't. They haven't fought and won any particular war here. Nor did they do so earlier. In 1996 also, their campaigns were derisively called checkbook campaigns. Checkbook, they paid their way, they purchased their opposition. They did not fight. The only fighting they do is when they are beating up defenseless Afghan women, whipping them or stoning them to death. And if they think that makes them great fighters, I would contemptuously disagree. They are a rabble. That's what they are. They are good at sniping. They are good at guerrilla operations in their own territory, in their own beat. Nothing beyond that. If they fancy themselves a world-conquering army, the ISIS was swiftly disabused of such notions in Syria and Iraq. What Pakistan is saying is that, they were calling the Americans for enslaving the Afghan, etc. They want to enslave the Afghan. And if they think that Afghan nationalism is so weak that they tamely surrender to a beaten state like, a moth-eaten state like Pakistan, well, then they've got a few shocks coming their way. They have hubris. They tend to get carried away by their own initial successes. They never think a problem through. They never think what would be the reactions of the enemy. I'm sure the Afghan state had a fallback plan. It is the Americans who were preventing them from doing it. They never let the Afghan National Army take back the Tajiks, the Afghans, the Uzbeks and the Hazaras into that army. They wanted to make a all hodgepodge, create a brand new army. They wanted them to discard every Soviet-era weapon. The Kalashnikov is a damn good weapon. But why make the people give that up? I couldn't understand. And then you create an army. That army fought pretty well. From 2014 to date, the heavy lifting was being done by the Afghan National Army. The US troops have only suffered from 2014 to date 99 casualties, which include accidents and road accidents and the rest of it. So I did not, for the life of me, see the desperate hurry to get out. They were not suffering. They had not been beaten by the Taliban. If the Taliban blasts a few IEDs and kills civilians, that was hardly reason for the Americans to withdraw in such a tearing hurry. I thought possibly Khalilzad's plan was to create problems for the Central Asians, Iranians, Indians, Chinese, Russians, everybody around the neighborhood by leaving the Taliban in charge. It has taken a lot of American help to put the Taliban get this victory. And of course, Pakistan, half of its bloody army is hanging around there in Afghan suits, Pathan suits, pretending to be the Taliban. And if they think that they are great conquerors, they have now conquered the nation of Afghanistan. They are going to treat it worse than a colony, a country that was modernizing, coming into the 21st century. They want to slide it back to the 7th century. They've got serious problems coming their way. The Pakistanis have been far too quick to celebrate. They were in 1996 also till the comeback blasted them in their face. And if they think they can kick the rest of the world around like a football, well, they are quite mistaken. If Joe Biden was in such a desperation to make an ass of, to make a fool of the American nation state, I'm sorry, they have cut a very sorry figure by that
Yes.
desperate haste to withdraw.
Absolutely.
There was no need for this desperate.
Yeah, it's turning out to be.
The American generals told them not to do it.
Yeah, that's the big story, isn't it? Colonel Rohit Dev is also joining us on the phone, and Jalbakshi. Let me take in a question, word from him as well. Colonel Rohit Dev, we are getting in videos from both sides of a Taliban convoy. Large number, looks like 50 to 100 cars that were moving towards Panjshir. Now, we're also hearing and getting in videos from the other side. This is one such video of the Northern Alliance Army. And we are hearing that the situation could get out of hand because a 4-hour ultimatum was given. What do you make of the situation that's developing?
Right. In the context of what is happening in Panjshir, I believe that it was to happen. It was bound to happen because the resistance at the ground of choosing by the Northern Alliance has actually unruffled the Taliban, and they have to go forward to meet them, even if they term them as their enemy. And this will take an ugly shape, most probably, if it comes to that, because unlike others, they have not in so far surrendered to the Taliban cause. The other thing which we need to look at also is that this is a method of evolution of a governance structure in Afghanistan. It is meant to be this way because of the pullout of the Americans. The power void has gotten the Taliban as a surge. There are other factions, including Hasmat Ghani, who have identified with Taliban to say they are okay, but they have not joined them. And they are there, Umarullah Saleh kind of leaders who want to stand the ground on the Afghans' 20 years of freedom and aspiration. So this tussle, both in the power structure, will involve 2 or 3 things. And one of them is violent interactions between groups. The second is how the people will be assuaged for a better future. It's something which this governmental structure will shape into. So if I break it down into 3 parts, insofar as we are concerned in India, the first part is the front face of the government of Afghanistan, which will come about 6 months, 8 months, by next April, May, it will mature. The percentage of Taliban there, the percentage of the representative of women there is something which we'll have to wait and see. The tail of this dragon, so-called, is countries like Pakistan and China, where we have to be wary because they are scavengers. So the scavengers will be also posting and ghosting on Afghanistan, and which we need to be very careful as a country called India as well. The middle part of this animal, which has been created, which will transcend into a tamed animal, is the people and Afghanistan's heart. And that is where, if you can correlate, the aspirations of the youth, the women, and the nationalists, which has come to the bear, even on the Afghanistan National Day, you saw that happening, and I saw it on your television only, is that is not going to die down. The aspiration is not going to die down, and people are willing to perspire and sacrifice their blood. So when you see the 3 components of the current animal, it needs to be tamed, and the world needs to focus on all 3. So there are players in the world which will focus on Pakistan sanctions and maybe China's economic clout not to be that much. There will be countries who will do the front-facing part because the U.S. has gone in a very unceremonious way from this kind of a war zone. They would like to make it look more and more nice. So the acceptability of the Taliban regime as a government is in their court. Insofar as India is concerned, we have to look at the 2 extremes with a little bit of caution only. But we have to invest our energy in the central part, which is the heart. And that will ensure that we can further utilize the coin to delineate Pakistan, to have the ASAC region probably simmering a little more on the Durand line, conflict between Afghanistan and Pakistan. And we need to keep our own territory of POK intact. So that view, India has done exceedingly well to be a little more mature and not to commit right now. And while all the diplomatic channels have evicted from Kabul and Herat and other places, a time will come that we will have to go back there as a diplomatic mission. And let's all wait for that to happen. And these will happen. Let's not get worried about these skirmishes. They are bound to happen in a power struggle. So let's see how it goes. And it will not be Taliban all the way, I can assure you, in a population in which they are not even, a minuscule percentage there.
Yeah.
How many days will the guns last? How many days will the ammunition last insofar as the repression is concerned? And you're already seeing most of it is going to Pakistan in truckloads. It will come through those $10 terrorists into our territory to the LC. So India is prepared. India should be prepared and take it as a precaution against this ingress of weaponry and mostly ammunition, which Pakistan is currently short of in terms of putting the $10 terrorists across the LC. So let's see how it goes, and I'm quite sanguine that this is a simmering pot currently which needs to, have a little meltdown, and it will adjust. It will adjust, contrary to many views, into a governing structure which will be acceptable. The poor voices of Pakistan will be scuttled. You saw how Qurayshi will be stuck in the future as well. So that's where we are going. So let's take pride in what we are doing as a country first, and let's watch, let's wait, and that's been the call. And let's see how the other voices of Ashmat Ghanis of the world and Saleh of the world are able to contest, resist, or coexist and formulate a governance pattern which is more acceptable to the world at large.
Yeah. Colonel Rohitdev and General Bakshi, we have to take a break now, but we'll keep coming back to you to get your perspective on the situation that's developing. A 4-hour deadline that's been given by the Taliban to the Northern Alliance as both sides make advances. Now, Northern Alliance, that's a video that came in of their parade in Panjshir, and you also had videos of the Taliban moving towards Baghlan to recapture it after they lost it. We'll take a short break and back with more videos and the latest updates.